good?
Ready, yes.
Good morning. It's 9 o'clock, May the 10th, 2021, and our regular Commissioners Court meeting is now in session. First item is roll call by our County Clerk, Mary Jane Vidal-Benoit. Come to you is today our Deputy Clerk, Celica Rodriguez. Good morning, Celica.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Good morning.
Judge Rathmel.
Present.
Commissioner Mendoza.
Present.
Commissioner Elizondo.
Present.
Commissioner Solis.
Present.
Commissioner Garza.
Present.
Judge, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Celica. Next item is our invocation by Dr. Roger Miller, Commissioners Court Chaplain. Morning, Dr. Miller.
Good morning. Good morning.
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 If you bow your heads with me this morning as we pray. Our Father, we come here this morning first thanking you for the many blessings that we have in our lives because of you. May we never forget your love and your concern for us as we recognize your work in our lives. So today we join together to experience one of those blessings, the gift of governing. And this gift allows us to realize conditions in which we may thrive as a people and as a society. It allows us to raise our children, to live in safety, and to learn to help and encourage each other. So as you have ordained, we have leaders appointed over us to work toward establishing and maintaining these blessings. We ask this morning of you, especially direct our leaders, our judge and commissioners, our elected and appointed leaders, so that they would discharge their duties for this community, which secures the best for everyone. Help us today to trust in you and experience the peace which you have promised to all who are prepared to receive it. And in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item, Commissioners, is communications. Just a few announcements. Congressman Cuellar will be here at 1 o'clock at the Gateway Clinic, and he's here to make an announcement of significant grant to the Gateway Clinic, $7 million, that will allow them to significantly improve the medical services here in our county. So, he asked for the public and commissioners if y'all can attend. I spoke with the CEO of Gateway last week, Mr. Elmo Lopez, and he is, with these monies, we'll be able to expand that clinic, bring in more medical services, maybe another nurse practitioner, even I think there's a doctor that will be coming, a full-time doctor. So all of these are very good developments for our community. So Congressman Cuellar will be here at 1 o'clock. I think I see Danny, our Fire Chief Arriaga. I think we always start more or less with our COVID vaccinations and our cases. Any news for us this morning, Danny?
Yes, the judge. Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Hope you all had a great weekend, and again, happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there.
Yeah.
We continue to do our vaccine drives. We continue to try and vaccinate all of our people in our county. We have noticed a plateau where people aren't really going anymore. Is that a good sign? I think it is. For the most part, most people that want a vaccine have already gotten it. That small percentage of numbers that people that haven't gotten it is basically they just, that small group of people that don't want it or are still iffy about getting it. But for the most part, we're doing good on the numbers. We're still testing twice a week. Testing for this week is going to be at the Pavilion May the 12th and 13th, which is Wednesday and Thursday. Mary Planner is doing vaccine drives, not vaccine drives, but she's vaccinating people in her clinic practically every day, all week. Walk-ins are welcome.
Yes.
We will be having one, I need to get with Commissioner Elizondo on Friday in San Ignacio, and that is for the second doses for the time we did it 4 weeks ago. But it will be open for first doses as well. Whoever wants to get it, we'll be there Friday the 14th from 9 to 1, I believe. And then Mary will be having one on a Saturday, again on May the 22nd as well. But like I mentioned, we continue to do our efforts to vaccinate our people. We did get an allocation, the fire department, of 300 vaccines, so we got that to work with for the rest of for at least a month before they expire. So we will be planning throughout the weeks of trying to get all those 300 vaccines to people instead of, going to waste.
Reviewing that, like you mentioned, Danny, reviewing the dashboard, we've done really well. I think as of last week, I think 63.96% of Zapata County eligible residents 16 and over have received at least one dose. 54.40% have received two or fully vaccinated. And I think our 65 and over have done 80% have already been vaccinated, which is very, very good. So I think overall we've done a really good job, Danny. A lot of volunteers, a lot of people
Yes,
to
sir.
thank.
Yes, sir.
Of course, Ms. Plattner and her staff, and then all the volunteers. But yes, we're ahead of the state averages.
Yes, we are, and I can thank everybody who's helped out, because there's been a lot of people that make this possible, a lot of people. Also, I quickly just wanted to add, Judge, I'm more than sure there's still people out there that do want it and have not gotten it, but there's many means of getting the vaccine in our county. There's no reason why people have to go elsewhere. There's an abundance of vaccines as of today. Like I mentioned, the fire department has some. If the public just wants to look into our page to see any future vaccine drives, like we mentioned, Mary Plattner as well, she'll be taking walk-ins.
And Gateway continues to vaccinate.
Gateway as well, CVS, and if
Daniel's Pharmacy is also.
Daniel's Pharmacy as well, and if there's people that are homebound or not necessarily homebound, but just don't have a car, or just to reach out to their commissioners, call the fire department, and we'll make arrangements to get those people vaccinated. They just need to reach out, because it's kind of hard for us to know exactly who needs it or who hasn't gotten it and who can't get it. But if they can reach out to the commissioners, you all just reach out to me, we'll get them taken care of. Because we do have vaccines, we just need to get those people that haven't gotten it and that need it, we'll take care of it, but they just need to reach out to us.
Chief, so it's all week at Mary Plattner?
At Mary Plattner's is all week, no appointments, walk-ins are.
That's a Moderna?
The Moderna, yes ma'am.
Okay.
And the ones we have are the Moderna as well. And like I mentioned, the only scheduled thing that we have as of now is for Friday in San Ignacio. But if we need to do something during the week, next week, we'll get it done.
And testing?
Testing.
I know, for us, I know you said it's Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday?
Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday.
Yes ma'am.
But if somebody needs to get tested before, where could they go, besides Daniels? I know Daniels does it.
It's Daniels, and I believe Mary Plattner does it as well. Yeah, Mary Plattner does testing as well.
What times is the testing?
Excuse me?
What times?
With Daniels, I think it's walk-ins, and with Mary, I think you have to set an appointment with Mary.
And
But,
the pavilion is from 9 to 4?
9 to 4, we're doing it twice a week, and for this coming week, it's gonna be Wednesday, Thursday. Yes.
Very good, Dan.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Moving on, any other communications, commissioners? We had, trying to get things back to normal, our senior prom, hopefully they had a good time. It was occurred this, on Saturday, so hopefully this senior class can at least enjoy that. I think, they've been going through a lot, students especially.
We also had a parade.
Their senior parade was at Turkey, so, yeah, I'm glad we're trying to get things back to normal. So that's a good thing happening. Any other communications? If not, we'll move on to public comment. This section provides the public the opportunity to address the Commissioners Court on any items on the agenda. Any members of the public wish to address the court on any items on the agenda at this time?
You know what, Judge?
Yes.
I should have probably, the sheriff wanted me to share with you guys some numbers.
Okay.
During communication, we were running late. You don't mind?
No, of course not.
It's just the numbers he normally
Yes.
presents to you guys. He's away, teaching a class at a conference, so he wanted me to just pass along with some numbers. So these are for the month of April from the jail. So for our regional jail, the estimate that we've collected in revenue is $121,550. And for the county jail, we're at, for April, $30,195.94 for a total estimate of $151,745.94. We also wanted to just share some bond fees totals. For the males, we collected $225, and for the females, $31 for a total of $256 for the month of April. All right?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Which is, I know, next many members before
Morning, Karen.
Good morning, Commissioners
Morning.
and Judge.
Good morning.
complaint.
Uh-oh.
Okay, it's on the taxes, the appraisal, that they're increasing it. I have on all four of mine, they range from an $18,000 increase to a $30,000 increase. On the 30,000 one, it's a single trailer. It was bought in 1980, a single car garage. It does have 5 lots, but it went up $30,000. We're broke. I mean, we're having trouble paying taxes, and it is, everybody's in the same boat.
Sure, I think, I know, you're welcome to speak. We do have an item to address.
Yeah,
some of
I
those
understood,
complaints.
I understood. if
But
you
yeah,
would-
but come in and we, you know, I can't go back and forth with you, but I've heard many complaints on exactly, so we're trying to see what we can do to help that.
Okay, and the other part of it is I've had quite a few calls from people, especially businesses. You know, we're struggling. You know, we're struggling really bad, and we're trying to stay afloat.
I understand.
We really can't, I mean, if we can't afford to pay our last one, how we go pay this one? You know, and
I
land
empathize with
isn't
your
selling
complaints.
bad, I mean, land is not selling.
Yes.
And I know several years ago, there was a lot of people in Siesta Shores that just walked away. You know, and we're looking at that again. I think as a community, we kind of need to put this on hold. I mean, everybody expects it to go up a little bit, but that is it. I feel like that is excessive, especially in the situation we are right now. You know, and I know everybody's in the same boat. I just wanted to make my views
I'm glad, I
known.
mean, we need the public to speak out, and that's, you know, that's the forum we have, so appreciate your comments. Certainly, over the past few weeks, I've received quite a few comments similar to yours. So, we have our chief appraiser just walked in, so she'll be, speaking to us and then trying to justify those values. So maybe you can listen to her and see what she has to say. And, I think we're all, want to listen why these values are, in some cases have gone up tremendously, over 100%. So, yeah, I received very many calls, and most of them were irate calls from taxpayers. Many of them, friends, people that I've known for many, many years that were very angry. And so I did request that the chief appraiser be here this morning. She's walked in, so hopefully she'll be able to answer some or justify some of her concerns that many in the community have.
Okay, because usually when they change appraisal, they're comparing it to another town. My question is, when she comes up, is what town are they comparing it? Do they have the same amount of businesses that we do? You know, cause that's a treatment, I wasn't expecting that.
Well, I don't think any of us were. Certainly, it's quite shocking. Yes. So, we've got, you know, quite a few residents here that are eager to hear, and hopefully we can get some comments on it that we will understand, and we'll see how that will go.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Any other public comments?
Mr. Guerra, did you want to speak in behalf of, do you have something to say for the Little League, Little League Parks?
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just real quick, I know I'm talking in regards to Little League.
Okay.
I know it doesn't pertain to Commissioner and Judge, but I know that the fields do. So I just wanted to raise awareness of what's going on with Little League this year. So Laredo's always been in charge of Little League. We're in that section or sector, District 34. So 3 things that a lot of parents, I'm speaking of concerned citizens and stuff like that, a lot of parents were calling in regards to what Little League was trying to do with them, you know, Laredo. So 3 things they wanted to do was, you know, raise the fee, which was at $65. That was one thing. The other one was, they wanted to make, kids travel to Laredo, where, weekly they had to travel to Laredo, where they didn't have to play here, so they'll play 1 week here, and 1 week in Laredo, and vice versa. I know that we have enough teams here to play here in Zapata. I mean, we didn't have to travel to Laredo. And the third thing was that they wanted to take control, like they wanted to make Hillside Little League. They wanted to pay Zapata pay fees and make Hillside Zapata. So Zapata be in charge of Hillside Little League.
Okay.
So those are the 3 things that they wanted to do, and I brought Mr. Ramiro Hernandez, and he's gonna procedures and guidance that we can follow, or what can we do, you know?
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, I'm glad that there's an effort to take the lead and from locals to make sure that we have control over our little league. So it's good to hear. Mr. Hernandez, good morning, Mr. Hernandez. I know you've been with the program a few years back, and you were successfully operating and ran that little league here in town. So you're coming back to help once again.
They reached out to me about what was going on with Laredo. So I talked to Mr. Carrillo, I did a little research on it. Basically what they were trying to do was trying to run Salata County as Laredo as well, with Hillside.
As a chapter
over there,
okay.
to include the fees and so forth. But under the rule guidelines and regulations, they do not control Salata County Little League. They do not control the fees, they do not control fields, they don't control anything, they just control the chapter. So with that being said, I talked to Mr. Carrillo, and he was pushing for play starting actually Monday, which would have been today.
Okay.
But there has to be certain steps that have to be met that are required in order for a child to start playing baseball, even the first pitch. And the first things first is gonna be the insurance. So the insurance was not covered. So I told him that I would not recommend for him to start the season with the insurance not being paid yet. But the mere fact is that if a child gets hurt either at practice or at a game, they're not covered. And if they're not covered, then it's a liability for Little League and the county because of the fields. So after talking to him about that back and forth for a little while, I'm assuming that he made the decision that they're not going to be involved this year with Little League and stuff like that. They're gonna go and hold them out for a year, which was one of the things that I had recommended. And the other thing that I had recommended was like an in-house league. Basically saying, Little League starts on Monday and it ends at the end of the month. Well, if they do an in-house league just for Zapata, you can actually do 8 weeks of play, excuse me, and then they can have an in-house tournament for first, second, and third for the teams.
Okay, but our teams will not be participating in the district play?
No, they will not be participating.
Well, I mean, given that, where we're at currently, I think that may be the best option for us. Is that what you feel?
Yes, and I talked to Ms. Chavela and Lalo. The mere fact is that if you put kids in a tournament with less than 6 games of play, that is not gonna be able to sharpen their skills before they even hit an all-star tournament. So now you have the effect of them going 2 games and out, instead of being able to be more competitive.
I know you successfully ran the Little League for many years, a few years back, and I think you can bring it back to where it was. So I'm happy that you're back involved, Mr. Hernandez. And certainly the parents of the young kids that want to play, I'm glad y'all are stepping up and trying to make it to where our kids enjoy playing, continue playing those games.
Now, sir, because of COVID, they have not had an election in almost 2 years now. So what we're gonna do is, because they need to have an election, we're gonna have an election probably on Saturday for the new board of directors. And what'll happen is those new board of directors will carry on now for the 8 weeks or so forth. Or if they don't, then they'll be the first board to take over October 1st. Now, come October 1st, then you have a legit board of directors, an election as well, and then they can start planning for the following year. That was one of the things that happened this year. There were no elections, like I said, in the last 2 years, so they came in with the intent that they were just gonna appoint somebody and run the league. Well, you can't do that. You can't do that at all. So that was one of the other things that I brought up.
Sure.
So what's happening now with Little League, they're refunding the funds back to the parents, 100%. Once they refund the money back to the parents and they start the interleague, if they're gonna decide to charge a fee and so forth, then they can use those funds with them just for in-house, instead of the money's went into a Little League account, because you won't be able to use that money.
How many participants do you all have? How many kids have actually signed up to participate?
They were saying between 2 and 250, something like that so far.
Large amount of kids, sure.
It's a lot.
And it's an experience that they need to have from
Yeah.
growing up, so,
Yeah.
yes. So, yes, y'all make it work, make it happen with these kids. I think inter-sectional play between kids that know each other is really good, so I think that's the best competition, so.
And as far as for the liability, because it's not Little League and there's not an insurance, the same form that we used when we used to do the battle of the classes. I don't know if you remember that, every time it was fill out the form. On the bottom was a disclaimer about liability.
Release a liability form.
Right. So I think by giving that to.
Well, and that will be given back to the board, not actually to the county. right?
No, what'll happen is they'll run with the form, they'll have it signed and so forth, and it stays with them. Just in case something does happen,
Right.
and the parents already signed it, they're already aware that,
I
you
think
know,
we
the
need to move
liability falls
forward
back on
regardless,
them.
so I'm glad to hear that y'all are putting that.
Mr. Guevara, are you gonna be involved with the league too?
Yes, sir. As of right now, since Ms. Chavela Espinosa is still the president, she's gonna be the one currently running it. But of course, she's gonna assign a board and we'll go from there. But it'll be Ms. Chavela Espinosa and then she'll assign the board, whoever. And I did tell her that I'm totally dedicated. I got a few members from each precinct that can be dedicated to be on the board team.
The only, and that's great, I'm glad it's coming back. The only thing that I ask is that we remain in communication for the use of the field, just so we can make sure that the fields are up to par.
Yes, sir.
As you know, we're very short-handed in our crew, so it does take a lot of time for our guys to prep those fields.
Yes.
So as long as we're made aware when the practices and games and all that's gonna be taking place, we'll make sure to have the facilities prepared.
Yeah, as soon as we bring up that schedule, you'll be the first ones to be let know,
Thank you.
whenever they're gonna play.
And I know,
Thank you.
Mr. Hernandez, that we always have, trouble finding practice fields, you guys already have practice fields and all that set up ready?
There's plenty of practice, I mean, I know that
'Cause I know
there's
that I've
always
been
been an
getting
issue.
calls to use the baseball field for
Yes.
practice, I don't know, is that gonna be
Yes.
allowed or only for games, or?
I think as of right now, just only for games, but I know in the fields, I know you, in your precinct, Ms. Elizondo, I know where the county fairground, there's always been there, I mean, for many years, practice areas right there. And then over here in Mr. Mendoza's, there's right there by Stripes also, there's a lot of practice fields around that every team can get one.
You know, we have Stripes, we have by the nutrition center, we have by, we can also use the track in front of the nursing home.
Yes.
We have that big open field where the old South Elementary used to be at. We
That's
actually
right.
went into an MOU with
Yeah.
with the school district.
There's plenty.
Use those
There's
facilities,
plenty.
so we'll accommodate you guys.
Yes, but I appreciate it, anything else?
The only thing I brought up with Chavela and so forth was, again, with the fields, and yes, you're absolutely right, we, practice fields and so forth, times for the fields, for the day. I did explain to them how, shorthanded the county is, time, meaning that if a crew uses a half a day for prepping of the fields, they lose a half a day of where they could be doing something else. So I explained to them what would be the best remedy for right now, which would be, because it's gonna be in-house, that they pick up the ball and help as much as they can, whether they be cleaning the fields and even striping the fields. And all the crews have to do is just go in there and mow the fields every 3 or 4 days. And
I
that
think
way.
that's better for us.
Yes.
That would be a fantastic partnership.
Yeah, I think that will work better.
Moving forward, as far as to begin the season, equipment, for umpires, bats, all of that will be provided with the fee, is that, or are y'all gonna need donations, assistance from organizations?
It's a nonprofit, so I'll tell you, any donation would be greatly appreciated because it'll go towards the kids. Equipment is still there from a year and a half ago, and so we had a lot of good equipment there. The pitching machine is still there, The mounts, portable mounts that the county purchases still there, everything is still there. It's just gonna be a matter of when to do the inventory and start handing out the equipment.
Judge, and I had mentioned to Chavela about maybe some of the monies that we're getting for nonprofit organizations, maybe share a little bit with, I spoke to Commissioner Mendoza also.
Nonprofit?
The monies that we're getting from
I think she's referring to the monies from the windmill judge,
Yes.
the allocations.
and maybe sharing a
Yes,
little bit
well,
with that.
maybe in the future,
Yeah, in the
those have
future.
already been allocated.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
A donation to the Little League would be great. I'll tell you for the mere fact is that, some of those donations can be utilized for the parents, families that cannot pay because either they have more than one child or so forth. So it would be more of those funds could be like a sponsorship funds to help the rest of the parents
So
out.
if a donation is made, does the money stay local? I just wanna make sure it
Yes.
doesn't go to the radio.
No, and that was one of the things that happened when I talked to the individual. He was telling me that they were gonna close out the account, they wanted all the monies to take it to Hillside. Well, you can't do that because it doesn't belong to Hillside. So after having this conversation with him as well, he went ahead and decided to keep the money here in Zapata. So any monies that is given here local stays here local.
And y'all already have the account, an account open for that.
We're gonna have to open a new one for the mere fact it's gonna be a new board of directors.
Yeah, once they elect the.
What they elect the board, there'll be a new account open, and then those funds will return back into the account.
Well, good luck, guys.
Yeah.
Whatever y'all need, just let us know.
And, my participation in this will be all volunteer. So I'll make sure that they're set up for success. There's one individual here that lives in Zapata, and means the world to me, and that's my job. So anything helping the community out, helping the kids is helping my job. To make
Thank
sure
you.
that they have a good day.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it for that.
Is there any other public comment? Not, we'll move on to item number 6, is approval of invoices. Commissioners, in your package, you had invoices, from April 23rd, 2021 through May 6th, 2021, for a total of $1,019,026.17. Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Solis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 7 is approval of treasurer's report. Salinas, good morning.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Go ahead and pass out the first report earlier in front of me. Page 1 shows the investments of Zapata National Bank, which is our depository. And we had a total of $8,870,000 at the end of the month. The interest earned was $2,597, and year-to-date interest earned $42,966. Following that is just a breakdown of each investment that the bank had carried them on for 90 days. So I'm gonna skip over those next 3 pages. Page number 5 shows our checking account. The very top one is the Zapata Academy operating account, and that's something that we did new. We opened up an operating account, which all checks will be funneled to this account, deposit. So that's the new account that we created. Our consultant, Juan Flores, and I decided to do this, and it's going to be a lot easier to handle. So that one had a beginning balance of 176, which shows the negative because we didn't have any money in the account when we opened it. But then we deposited $2,651,000, expense out of there $1,372,000. We had a netting balance of $1,278,843.72 at the end of the month. The general
So
fund-
when you say that, Mr. Salinas, so all these other accounts, will they be consolidating into that one account?
Yes.
Eventually, right?
Eventually.
I think this will simplify us for the auditing purposes and certainly for reconciling that. So all these accounts, Commissioners, will be, that we're looking at, will all be placed into that one account. And of course, these line items will exist.
Yes, they will.
In our GL's accounts, but we won't have 30 accounts at the bank anymore.
Exactly. That's our
Well,
goal.
as many as there are, it seems like they're like 30.
Yeah, the line items will be more internal, but like actual
Yes,
accounts
for
will
sure.
only be.
That is
What-
correct.
Yeah.
We're also looking at the new software that, we're gonna be allowing the departments to look at their individual, departments. So it's giving access to each department we could very easily do that with the courthouse, because we're all in the same building. Where we're having issues right now that I'm facing is that when we purchased the software, at the time, I didn't think that we needed to be on the cloud. If we were on the cloud, it'd be such, easy for the departments to log in. Say the regional jail could log in with the department, Road and Bridge, all those satellite offices that we have, San Ignacio. So, right now I'm trying to get a quote, and they're trying to give me a reduced price. They want to do it to a small county and convert it to SCW, which is Jim Hogg, LaSalle County, and stuff like that. So hopefully, when they present that to me, I said, well, we're broke, like somebody said, we don't have any money. It was Karen. So, we're waiting on a quote, and now present that back to the court. That way it'd be a lot easier for any department to log in, but only that department can have access to their department, and just view access on
Right,
it.
and that'll be convenient because we have a lot of issues where department heads don't know how much money they have left in specific line items.
Right.
And this way they're able to keep track of how much money they have and
Exactly.
hopefully reduce the possibility of them overextending on the budgeted line items. So,
And
that would be a good feature.
Yeah, we've been rolling out, I did purchase a lot of, really nice features. The next one that we're probably gonna be looking at is, originating POs. That'll be also done at the level of the department. Automatically, we'll go to the auditors, he'll look at it in the computer, approve it, it'll go to my department, we click, and we print the check. So that's gonna.
Paperless?
Paperless. And, we'll have that paper trail, it's all gonna be computerized, but at the same time, we, don't lose time in sending somebody to go to his office, waiting there, I need an approval, do I have money in this line item? And then bringing it over to my department for processing, so.
What about the invoice, Mr. Salinas? Would they have to scan the
Yes,
invoice?
we will
as an
continue,
attachment, or?
yes, that will be, sent to the department, it'll also be scanned, so we'll keep copies of all of that. So, yeah, it's, something that we're gonna be rolling out to the department.
I think it'll help in the overall effort to get our audits in time.
Yes.
I think that's our main concern. We seem to be a few months late every year, and it does affect us. So anything that we can streamline the process, I'm all for it. So hopefully this will really help out. Okay.
Yeah, just the thing is that we couldn't roll out everything at the same time, because it takes training. We started with the accounts payable, then we switched over to the payables. We're now training with the payroll, so it's got a lot of different.
I think Waterworks was also being converted.
Yes,
Were they able to work out those hiccups? Because I heard they were having quite a few hiccups.
Yeah, they, went live, I think, last week, and with any conversion, they, were running backups, and all of that, so it was a big, conversion for them. But then it has been helping out there, that's why it has been tied up a lot with, in communication with OpenDuck. But, things should be getting better. We just wanna make sure that all those bills, match with, running in parallel billing and, payments and all that. So it takes a big effort on the part of the Waterworks, so I commend them for all their patience and all the training that they're receiving on at the Waterworks. But it all work for the best for them. We also will be rolling out the, as we roll out some new operating to the court, did so many things, but, going forward with the report, the general fund had an opening balance of $1,533,000. We ran deposits $452,000, expense out of $1,510,000, and we had an ending balance at the end of the month of $175,000. And, the other one, we looked down, Waterworks, had a beginning balance of $11,192.51, the ran deposits of $192,189, and then, at the ending balance of $11,198 expenses. And at the end of the month, we still had a balance of $192,183.02. Following page number 6 are just checking accounts that hold other elected officials, and those that have been balance of $2,404,000, rent deposit $741,000, expense out of there $1,040,000, and we had an ending balance at the end of the month of $2,109,351.92. Turn to page 6, has the checks issued from the general operating account, and those total $1,641,900. $302,191.10. Year-to-date, we've issued checks totaling $6,312,133.14. The next page shows the checks issued by different funds, and those total $1,813,896.91. Page number 9 shows the electricity, and we granted a payment of $37,484.83 for the month of April, and the water bill came in at $11,386.82.
Is that accurate, Selena, the light bill, or are we missing something?
Yes, no, it's correct, Commissioner, because when I spoke to Bobby, there were some bills that were being submitted late by Savio and out of Houston, so decided to question that. And sometimes they do late readings, so we're okay. I mean, we're not paying any penalties. I make sure of that.
Well, that's good, we saw the increase there.
Yes. The next page, number 10, is the Hill Corp Energy direct deposit for the wells. And for the month of April, we got a direct deposit of $6,015.43. Year to date, we received $37,822.04. Page 11 shows the rental income. The only one showing for April, and I'm glad to see numbers there, is Buck Community Center, and they deposited $1,200. Page number 12 shows the April deposits to Fund 10, our county program deposits for $3,858.50, in Fund 15, $4,207.10, our district clerk $3,692.80 in Fund 10, and $592 to Fund 15, and our sales tax came in at $102,282.89. Page 13 shows the revenue. The landfill brought up payment for $32,208. Our jail money received for the month of April recorded the treasurer was $174,862.88. The jail $9,645.89. Jail bonds $256, and our EMS department $50,367.84. Page number 14 shows the collections by JP number 1 for the month was $21,033.10. JP number 2 $21,940.54. JP number 3 $10,468.31, and JP number 4 shows zeros because it came in after the end of the month. So we'll post that and you'll see it next month. The next page is just the overtime report.
Motion approved by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Solis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. We've got number 8 is approval of checks issued, and check is,
So moved.
they're the same amount as the invoices. Motion by Commissioner Mendoza to approve the checks issued as presented, seconded by Commissioner Gatsa. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Item number 9 is tax assessor collectors departmental report. Morning, Ms. Mendoza.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Collections for the month of April. We have, for the general fund, we have $150,460.47. For the interest and sinking fund, we had $61,633.75. Farm to market, $17.85. Special road and bridge, $15,806.11. Delinquent attorneys, we paid out $15,010.55. Total collections for taxes was $242,928.73. Then for our fees and other collections, we had a total of $5,556.37 for a total of $248,485.10. Payment issued to Bucks County Treasurer was $233,479.95. Collection rate to date is 85.71%. That's above,
Doing well, yes.
well above.
Very much better than last year.
4 points above, yeah.
Hotel motel tax, we have already successfully collected everything for the prior year. Now we're working on the
January through April. So, we finally got it.
Yeah,
We got it Friday, so that doesn't, it's not reflecting on this balance. So our total collection for the hotel motel tax is $74,673.22. That's our year-to-date collection.
Thank you, Ms. Mendoza.
Thank you, Ms. Mendoza. Appreciate the information.
We'll move on to reports and presentations. Item number 10 is a report from our chief appraiser, Ms. Tamara Gonzalez, on the 2021 property valuations. Good morning, Ms. Gonzalez.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, good morning, welcome. I wasn't here, with, Karen speaking, so I didn't get the whole.
Well, I think what Karen was alluding to, and what most people are alluding to, that certainly even with concerning the pandemic and overall 14-year worth of downturn in our economy, to get appraisals that are sometimes more than 100% increase from this year is alarming, and sometimes they're responsible, seems like. So they want to know exactly where you came to arrive at these numbers.
Sure.
What methodology was used, what can they do to protest and change these values back? So there's a lot of questions. I think we can go back and forth on exactly.
Well, let me start off by saying this. First of all, the values went up, yes, they did, and the reason that I'm gonna say that the appraisal district is charged to appraise all property at market value, at what it is currently selling. Not what the production is, not what your business is running by, but what the market is. So, with that being said, every year, the controller's office comes into my office and they do a property value study. It's actually every other year, but in 2018, my values were found invalid. What does that mean? That they're saying that I'm too low and I should be up here. I have 13 different categories, and each category is audited by the controller's office. Again, 2018, first time I've been here as chief appraiser for almost 40 years. Well, not chief appraiser 40 years, but working with the appraisal district almost 40 years. We've always had valid value. Like I said, 2018, invalid. So what happens then? I get a 2-year period, grace period, to bring those values up. That was 2019. I was working
And why
on.
was the state controller? How did they arrive at those?
Well, basically the same way that I'm supposed to arrive at my values, and that's using sales. And if they don't have, it's really hard to get sales here because we send out surveys every time there's a sale. We send out surveys, but we get very few sales. So based on that.
I find it difficult that, I think for the most part, most sales that occur here are with local individuals that we know who they are, and you're saying you cannot make contact with them and say?
Well, we do, but they're very hesitant, and we actually, it's not a verbal, I need documentation.
I think there has to be a greater effort from your office to
Well, we
pursue
do,
that.
and based on that, all the sales that I've gotten are high sales. They're not low. All the sales that I was able to gather, and speaking to realtors in Zapata County, my values are actually lower. I'm not at 100, but I feel like with what I've implemented this year, my values should be valid with the state, and I have an argument with them. When my values were found invalid, I call them up, tell me, show me, just like the way you do it right now. How are you arriving at those values? So they send me the information together. They have the same problem that I do. They can't get sales. So what they do is they get surrounding counties. Similar, I think they use Rio Grande, Jim Hawk, Duval, I don't recall the other.
Ms. Gonzalez, let me ask you this, I hate to interrupt you, but what would be the consequence for Zapata County if the appraisal district were to remain in invalid status?
To the county itself, it would no consequences. To the school district, it has consequences.
There
may be-
What do you mean between the county and the school. What is the consequence?
Well, first of all, the appraisal district is charged for one value for all taxing entities. So we have 5 taxing entities, the same value has to be used by each entity. That's the purpose of the appraisal district. Before the appraisal district was implemented, a school district had a value, the county had another value, a college had another value, so the appraisal district was created for one value. With the school district, since they get funding from the state, the value play a part in that funding. So honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know exactly how much it affects the school funding, because, like I said, this is the first time that it's actually happened. But, and I'm talking to the people from the controller's office as well, the best thing is, they told me it's a very complicated formula.
Is there any way to request that the grace period be extended for additional years?
Well, we did that last year with the pandemic, because if we had we had been able to roll over our values from last year, then we would have had an additional year. But the governor said no. The pandemic was not affecting our values. So with that being said, we were not able to.
So you're not sure what the exact repercussions would be for the school district, and if for sure there will be, is there a possibility?
There will be, definitely. The question is the amount. That I don't know. I don't know how much it would affect our funding, but it does affect, it will affect our school funding definitely.
So you're saying that if your values are not accurate, which the state says you haven't been accurate for many years.
Yes.
And why is that?
Well, you know what, Judge, going back to that, and I don't want to, well, it is what it is. We had so much mineral value that the bottom number, if my categories do not fall within 20% of that value, then they're not audited. So now my bottom value, the total value, all my categories are falling into that. So now they're doing an audit on each of those categories. And now I'm finding out, okay, we're too low here, we're too low here, and basically the ones where we're the lowest, or were the lowest, hopefully, like I said, I should be up to par. It's my branch land, that was at 50%, according to the state, and my commercial property. My residential.
Commercial was at 50% as well?
The ranch land value is at 50%.
Commercial was at 74%.
And it should be at what percent?
At 100%.
Wow.
And so they're saying, since we lost all our values within the last 15 years, well, I would say 90%.
I'm just saying that what the.
No, but you're saying not,
calculated.
we lost 95% of our values from our minerals, which supply 95% of our total values compared to in the past. Now, since it provides a really small percentage of our total value, now they're taking a deeper look into how we can squeeze every cent from our local taxpayers.
Well,
you see how unfair that sounds to the public, that when we're at worst time in the history of our economy, you're saying, no, you know what, you need to squeeze even more from our local taxpayers to make up the lost revenues that we lost from our minerals.
Yeah, well, just let me just say this. My job is not about taxes, it's about the value. So
I just don't agree with a value that increases 150% from one year to the next. Either you're not doing your job over the life of this, which it seems is what you're admitting on your own, that your office was intentionally misleading the public into saying that the values were kept artificially low because we had plenty of mineral values over this time.
Well, I'm purposely not doing it purposely. I'm back again to what you're just trying to tell me. You want for me, and basically every year, and that is my job to every year. But again, trying to help out the community. Why should I be raising their values if I can help them?
Because you avoid some catastrophic increase like you're doing this year, Amara.
Well, it happens in all the districts, Judge. All the
I have not seen one district around here that has raised property values.
Have you
that
checked
are
Webb County?
booming.
Have you checked Webb County? Have you checked?
They're not at 150%.
Oh, some of the values went up 300%, Judge.
Well, and they've gone up 300% here, just about across the board.
No, but this is across the board, pretty much. The value that was raised was basically land value. That's it.
Land, and you're talking commercial values, these restaurant owners, these business owners,
On
would have
the
had a terrible
commercial,
year.
on the commercial properties, it was the land values, and we had to
No,
have some,
no.
yes, sir.
I
We
can
do.
tell you from personal experience, I'm telling you, you
We have
increased.
we have some businesses that were categorized incorrectly, and those were corrected. That the land value
At
was basically.
140%.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So that seems that you are being irresponsible throughout the periods by not taxing these tracts or industries or economies or these buildings in the correct manner.
Well, I have my appraisers, I don't look at each individual account, Judge, so a lot of things have come up this year, and I'm taking a hands-on,
So-
and I am doing some of the appraisals myself.
Do you know
now.
how much percentage-wise the increase in real property from the local taxing properties went up in comparison to, what I'm getting at, we've got two wind farms that are coming into the tax roll, aren't they? They came in, these were $200 million investments that should have been taxed. Of course, the county and the school district agreed to abatements, so they were gonna be taxed at about 30%. So I was looking at the totals here, compared to last year, the real property, last year was at $1,204,214,095. So this year, you've got it at $1,657,988,592. So basically, it went up $453 million in real property, which is what most property owners are concerned here in Zapata. So.
Well, the bulk of that is on the ranch land, because that went up, and the bulk of that is not taxed, because then you have your ag value.
Right.
Judge, but out of those 407 million,
How much does the wind farms account for?
The wind farms are about 2 million?
About 2 million.
You in value, 2 million?
First of all, these are very preliminary numbers. I mean, we're in the
But
appeals
these
process.
projects are completed, and you're not taxing them at $200 million
I don't
value?
do the wind
But you don't know
farm.
what you're taxing them at, the value is?
They didn't give me an exact amount, they gave me a total of the whole thing.
And how much is that?
The whole, it's the 208 million.
For both of them?
So they're included in that amount. Because that is
So
also.
both of those projects have been completed, they were both $200 million projects each one. So you should have a value of $400 million.
4 million.
400 million.
Oh, 400, 400.
I don't know exactly how they appraised it, but I can definitely get that
I mean,
information.
we need to look at those things and not force the taxes on our local taxpayers.
Again, these are preliminary, once the appeals process is done, the thing is that these values, we get them before notices are sent out. So once we send out the notices.
I just,
we have our
overall,
numbers.
you were very responsible by raising these values over 100% across the board on all of the taxpayers that are struggling. We just heard from a local taxpayer, she can't pay this year's taxes, how is she gonna pay next year's taxes when you double them up?
Excuse me?
Not only her, everybody.
Well, first of all, again, if you come into my office and there's an appeals process, and first of all, I shouldn't even be discussing all of these values because it's against the law for me to try, for any taxing entity, to try and
You
get you
can't
to
keep
lower
this
value.
in secret.
No, it's not a secret, but it's against the law for you to try and get me to lower the value or raise the value.
I'm
for
just saying-
any taxing entity, Judge, it's illegal. If
I'm just telling you-
if any person is not in agreement with the value, there is a process, there's the protest.
Well,
They come-
okay, now we're
they
getting
come
to the process.
office.
What is the process?
Okay, well, the process is you file a notice of protest. You come into my office, you can make an appointment with myself or one of my appraisers. We'll discuss your individual property. Okay? Your individual property. If we're not in agreement with that, if we don't agree to a value, then you take it before the appraiser.
So people can go to your office starting today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's not,
So-
I'm gonna give you this number and you can't do anything about it.
So they start with you.
As an individual person, you can come into my office file your notice of protest, and we don't agree, then you can go before the
Will
official
every
court.
person, will every individual, Ms. Gonzalez, that does not agree with their appraised value get audience with the appraisal
Yes.
review board?
Yes.
Well, I think you can get an audience with her right away.
Yes.
And
We
then,
try to do informal hearings, and that would be talking to the appraisers or myself.
Right.
If we don't, after, reviewing that property, after checking it, we don't agree on the value. And let me tell you this, the people, because we have gotten as many calls or plus, to what, you have been getting. Once we go in there, we discuss it, it's the majority, 99.9% of the time, it's not about the value, it's about the taxes. About the taxes that you're gonna pay. And like I say, my job there is value, not taxes. So once we get on an individual, one-to-one basis, you know, and what I'm asking them, if we don't, is bring me in a fee appraisal. A fee appraisal is gonna tell you exactly what your property is worth. Exactly what it's worth. And I guarantee you, it's gonna be lower than what we have it at. That's a guarantee. So it's not, again, the majority, 99.9, it's about the amount of tax you're gonna pay.
Ms. Gonzalez, do you have the authority, when, let's say an individual walks into your office to go contest the value that they're being assessed, you have the authority to immediately, make adjustments to the
Yes.
value of that property?
Yes. Because we're in the appeals process right now, so, yes.
I'm just,
I
I'm
think
asking
that's
you.
what I would recommend to every landowner, every property owner who is dissatisfied with the value to walk into the appraisal district and have a visit with you.
Yes.
The whole county.
Yeah. And I'm asking you these questions because we're live, so for the public's, information, so they understand what the process is.
There is an article, press release that we put out every year as well, and it should be coming out in the paper next week. And if there's the appeals process is outlined on that as well.
I would urge you to look into those wind farms to make sure we maximize what they're already getting a pretty significant tax
Yeah,
credit.
no,
So I just want to include all the value that should be accounted for. And when they came before the court, they put a value of course, they declined because there is depreciation.
yes.
Of over 200 million for each project, and I want, this is their first year, and I want them to be accountable.
Well, I think the whole purpose, Judge, of us going into contract with these companies for these projects were to remove some of the burden from the taxpayer, from the local taxpayer.
Of course.
And then have these,
We've been
these projects
struggling
carried
for,
out.
we lost.
If we continue in that route, I'm gonna end up the way the judge just said. My job is to appraise property every single year at market, so if I start doing, what we're talking about right now, is basically what I was doing by not raising the values when we have so much minerals. So you're looking at it that way.
There's no
we're gonna be
comparison,
fi-
Ms.
Find
Gonzalez.
ourselves in the same situation again that we are right now.
There's no comparison. I just want.
The other thing is the property tax, code allows the appraisal district, there's no limit on the increase.
I understand that.
Only on the homesteaded property. On the home, if it's your homestead, then our value cannot increase.
We
by more
understand
than
that, so that
10%.
falls back on the court and whether our tax rate is significant or not, or is it too high, too low?
Yes.
But certainly that has ramifications also with other, including the wind farms.
Yes.
So let's say the court decides to lower the tax rate to kind of alleviate the exceptionally high value that your appraisal district has imposed on our community. Well, guess who gets the biggest tax break?
The wind
The
farm.
wind farm.
It just doesn't make sense. The reality is we've lost over the past 14 years. I guess a perfect example is Zapata County. We've lost half of our workforce. So you think property values have contributed to that?
I'm sure it has.
Well, there you go. Why can you say?
But again, again, you're talking about, your tax rate, I'm talking about the value, and if you want me to do my
It's all
job,
interconnected.
you
The
told me that I
reality is-
wasn't doing my job, if I should continue, I need to keep.
The
it
values
up
are
to
not where
market.
they should be.
The values are the values.
I think it was-
I don't make the market.
No, but
I
it
don't
was
make the market.
irresponsible of you to be left in this position where you are now.
Yeah,
Well, you agree to that?
yeah, I should.
You said you failed the taxpayers.
Well, I don't believe I failed, I believe that I was helping them out, and it was gonna get to the point where I had to go where I should be at. You
Well, in
wanna
the
look
end-
at it this other way, you've
in
been
the end,
saving
we're all
saving
included in this.
yourself all these
Yeah.
years of lower taxes.
Not exactly. Not
No,
exactly.
that's on the commissioners and the school board. My defense is, I was trying to help out local people because I wasn't being audited, it wasn't affecting anybody.
That's on
It
a
was not
personal
affecting
level.
anyone, but now we're at a point where it is gonna be affecting someone. All of us.
Everyone.
Yes, everyone.
Everyone at the worst possible time.
Yes,
You agree to that?
I agree to that. I would.
All right, any other comments, Commissioners?
Well, Ms. Gonzalez, I think what we should do, we have to call a special meeting on the appraisal of the district, so we can realize this, because I think it's.
Well, Mr. Commissioner, again, my board of directors, you sit on my board.
Exactly.
Police, you cannot discuss values with me. It's against the law. That is not your job. Your job as a board of director is to make sure, to appoint the chief appraiser, and you can get rid of me if you want.
And evaluate job performance.
Exactly.
That's your job.
And you can, our budget, appoint ARB members and appoint my act. That is the responsibility of my board, not to try to influence me in any manner to change values. It's against the law.
It's a very difficult position for all of us to be in.
Yes.
Where we're at right now, and for this to be compounded by your office, it is not, it doesn't look well on your office.
Well, I'm not there to look well, Judge.
No,
I'm there to do my job.
not to say that it's a pretty picture, it's just the inadequacy of your office, of what you did.
Well, it's done. Like I said, I feel that my values this year will be valid. If not, if they are found invalid again, then we're looking at another increase next year.
I don't think you're fighting enough for our council.
Ms. Gonzalez, I have a question.
Sure.
So, in your board, since when has this value been low? That not to in compliance, but where they're supposed to be?
Well,
Since when?
I had never been audited on them, so.
But you and the board knew that they were not 100%, the same, they knew. So nobody ever said anything to you that, hey, we need to work together, let's see how we can do this, gradually hire it every year, or, I'm just asking, how does it work?
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand what you're asking.
Like, the values were low, you're saying they were not in compliance to where they're supposed to be, so that's why you have to hire them, right? The value.
Yes,
Now they're higher.
they're higher now.
Because they were not supposed to be, they were lower than. So what I'm trying to ask.
We've made adjustments, on appraisal, but we've been getting ourselves, like, a couple of years ago, we increased the town size, land value.
So they've been increasing
Because
slowly?
oh, yes, it's not, every time we do a subdivision, if we're getting ourselves, we increase it. The one thing that really I have not worked with was my acres, my land. And that is and my commercial land was pretty good, because that only increased about 15% on the land, on the commercial. There are some, like the judge was mentioning, there are some businesses out there that it went up higher because they were being misclassified. And that was brought up to my attention by a property taxpayer, because he was being appraised at 100%, and then, yeah, we have this other business here at 50%. So what's going on? That was why, like I said, and it's my responsibility, and I take responsibility for the fact that I didn't audit my appraisers to see what they were doing. And I don't wanna blame them, it's on me. Because I should have been auditing their appraisals, what they were doing. We have our website, and if you go into our website, you can get all the information you want. You can get your neighbor's values, you can get all that information is there. So I've had people, taxpayers that use it, actually use it, and have gone into our website and have been comparing values with other similar properties. And that's when, like I said, unfortunately, that's when I realized there's something going on with my appraisers where they're not being fair and uniform. So those are some of the businesses that were.
on ranch land, of course, you went up 45% on ranch land, is that correct?
Yes, about
On your appraised, so we're now, ranch land is appraised at $1,450.
$450, yes.
I think that's even above market value.
And you know what, Judge, back to the state is telling me that it should be at 1,800. And I'm happy to say that I've gotten quite a bit of sales on those. I was able to get quite a bit. And 1,400 is the standard, the most common one that I found.
I think, we had a discussion last week about the productivity values of the ranch land. I think for the last 5 years, it seems like it comes in every 2-year cycles. We've either in a severe drought or exceptional drought, like we
Well, you know
currently
what,
are.
on that,
I understand that it doesn't relate to, but I think you should, be considered impact. Our lands do not produce what lands 100 miles east of here or 100 miles north of here produce because of how arid we are. We're very limited as to what we can do. The number of animals that it's all ranch land. We don't have any cropland to speak of, very little. So all of us are grazers. And right now currently, you can't hold a cow to 100 acres. So I don't know what values or what goes into your formula, but I think you have to make that assumption that Zapata is not East Texas or even Hairpinville. So you're saying we should be at $100 a value, productivity value? That is
that's
crazy.
what the state is saying.
So you went up to 58 from 55. It's still gonna cost taxpayers some money. We've got an exceptional drought, hardly any cattle in our county.
Well, the way the drought plays a part is, unfortunately, and I explained the formula to you, I don't know if you want me to.
Yeah,
go
but
on.
these formulas are not right.
They're
Am I?
mandated, Judge. They're mandated by the
I understand.
legislature. So if you want changes to those formulas, you need to talk to your legislator.
And we have, but.
And the thing that came up on the drought is, okay, if you have a drought, then, and you need to get rid of half of your cattle, you're still in compliance with the ag. That's the way they fix that.
And you still have to
And
pay,
then
but
we
you
have
went
the
up.
tick- And then we have the ticks also. Well, no, I'm saying that you still get to keep your ag. Even
I
if you take it,
understand,
even
but,
if you
but
take it in your
what I'm getting at, in the middle of an exceptional drought, in a year that's the second year of drought, you decide to increase what we're producing.
Well, I didn't decide.
Well, that's what happened.
But I send out surveys as well, and then I have my ag advisory board, and that is your job, to advise me on what's going on with the ag.
It's not reality.
And like I said, I get information from my ag advisory board, and that's.
It's
the
just
numbers that
overall,
I'm
across the
that's
board,
going on.
these numbers are not reality to what's happening in our community.
Well, the best I can say for you and everyone else in our community, is file a protest.
And that-
If you're not, happy with your value,
We will.
come by our office, give us a call, and we'll.
I thank you for coming in and having the discussion with us,
Not a
so
problem, Judge.
I just, I get most of the calls,
Well,
and
you
so
know what?
I just wanna make sure that people realize there is a process, and certainly the president has a role in this, a very significant role, and I think your office, should have been a little bit more diligent over the years to arrive at this, and not expect county taxpayers to absorb these costs in 1 year, in the worst year they've ever had, and in the middle of a pandemic. That is irresponsible, am I?
I do also want to mention
Yeah.
something that and that's probably why you're getting all these calls yourself. It's on our appraisal notice, there is in bold that if you have anything, not about the value, it doesn't say, but if you have any questions about your taxes, you need to contact your local official. And that was.
Yeah, that's
by the
exactly what they
legislature
do.
To be put in.
Oh, I get the calls, yes,
Yeah.
and I'm
But
calling you.
that's why you're
Okay.
getting all those calls, because
Yeah.
it's in the notice.
And I expect to get the calls, but I wish, I wanted you to justify, I don't think, you reached that point. You did reach a point to tell us that, your office has not been complying over the years, so that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez.
Thank you.
We've got, item 11, Commissioners, a presentation on the 2021, TAC RMP Employee Safety Equipment Program given by the Texas Association of Counties Risk Management Consultant, Mr. Victor Uvay. Victor, welcome.
Commissioners, good morning. Hopefully this will be better news. Well, I do want to tell you that, y'all are members of the risk management pool and you have the workers' comp coverage with us. So what we've done, the pool, by having safety programs and safety equipment and practicing safety habits at work, we were able to, give some money back to counties because there was a surplus. So the county is gonna be getting $2,170 for the road and bridge department to buy safety equipment. And the same amount is gonna be given, it has been given to the sheriff's department to buy safety equipment. Both are separate accounts, that each is managed by different, Nelly got the information for the road and bridge, the sheriff department, the sheriff got the information for the sheriff's office, and they can spend, there's thousands of equipment there, so at least you don't have to spend money in that area. We've been doing this program for 3 years, so you should be having pretty good supply of personal protective equipment, other type of safety equipment, so this will be the 3rd year, so maybe you won't have to spend money on that type of equipment. So it's $2,170 for each department, and you do have to be current members, and you are a current member, so you'll be getting that money.
Appreciate your help, Victor.
And one thing I do wanna tell
I
you.
hope Richard will be going down in our risk, liability insurance.
Well, you know what, man? But yes, we can get, for real, if we can keep your claims down, we work together, trying to do safety training, safety equipment, we can do this, you know? And that's why we were able to give money, because we did keep the claims down.
Okay.
You know, out there. And of course, you know, this was a bad year during COVID, but those claims really did not develop for us. You know, they're not on the workers' comp, they developed on the medical side, but not on the workers' comp. So on workers' comp, we didn't get a lot of claims on COVID, so that kind of gonna keep the cost down. You know, out there. And anything we can do as a county, because I'm working with Jim Hall County, I'm working with Brooke County to try to keep their claims down too. So that way everybody's prices go down. But we do look individually at Zapata County to see how their claims are doing.
And we're good.
If we can keep them down, that's why the credit comes out there. But we are trying to do everything to try to keep your price down. So, yeah, I mean, this year, we didn't look at your, on the property, we didn't look at your losses, just if you added buildings or if you added equipment.
Okay.
But we weren't charging you for losses because we know how bad it is this year. So we're also trying to keep our prices down.
Thank you, Victor.
One thing I do want to give you, I gave you one of the.
I saw that. I
And this is
appreciate
the
that.
next attack that's coming to us, is cyber attacks. And this is the first few tips you can take to try to prevent a cyber attack.
There was a really large.
And if you need more help with this, we have a consultant that can come do some training, some analysis, stuff like that out there to try to prevent a breach of your equipment. But these are the first steps you can take to prevent it. And thank you, that's all I got.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Moving on to the action item, Commissioners, we will consider action item number 12, is to solicit bids for the San Ignacio Open Pavilion project.
Yes, Judge and Commissioners, I have put this item on the agenda, to see if I can go out for bids to see, you know.
What is this, Commissioner?
It's for an open pavilion, Judge, so when we have our food distribution in San Ignacio, so we have a place to park the trailers. Because we actually do it out in the open, if it's raining or it's too hot, well, not really too much rain, but when it's too hot, the fruits and vegetables start getting like really.
Don't you have a parking lot there at the community center?
The park, yes, but the trailer can't go in through there.
You can go inside, you can do that. I'm just saying, we don't have budgeted money for that. We've got some really hefty bills coming down what kind of cost are you looking at? Do you have a spec on it?
Yes, we do have the specs on it, it's like a 20 by 40, I mean, I was trying to make it smaller because they gave me a bid, kind of like looking into
Okay, you
numbers
already
like.
went out for bid.
No, well, actually, I asked around, and they said kind of like 42,000, I've been asking
Yeah.
around, but not actually going out.
It might be something that the court might want to include in the next year's budget, if we have the monies to do that. We don't have money, but we wasn't budgeted.
Maybe in capital, if there's room there in, capital.
Yeah.
In the budget?
Right, in the budget, I think it's something that we could include in it.
For next year?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that, so no action.
Okay. Item number 13 is to name the baseball field and the park behind the Catholic Church, Norberto Garza Baseball Field and Park. We had a motion from Commissioner Solis. Are we renaming it? I thought we had named it Veterans Park.
No, not that one, Judge.
Not which one?
The one that we named as the Veterans Park is the other one, close to the pavilion.
The pavilion.
Yeah.
And the Little League?
That's the
Well,
Little
that
League.
one has a name too on it also.
The what?
The Little League?
No, the softball field
Oh, you want the softball field?
and the park, the new one, in front of my office.
Well, that one is the one we named Veterans Park,
Which one's
didn't we?
Veterans
No, Veterans Park is the one that is close to the pavilion.
Which
This
one?
park
The one
is
that's
in
on
front of
Precinct
my
two?
office.
The one in precinct 2 is called Veterans Pavilion?
It's not
We
precinct.
had named Veterans Park,
I know one of them, I thought it was the.
yeah, well, I mean, I honestly don't think it's a good idea for sitting members of the court to be honoring ourselves. It doesn't look good. I don't like this idea at all. It's like we're patting ourselves on the back for good job, Commissioner. I think, when we're out of here, or we're underground, buried, and somebody thinks we did a good job, another court, and says, you know what, they did all right, I think that would be appropriate, but for us to be naming ourselves is, not a good idea, so. We got a motion, is there a second?
Well, I know I had put it in Commissioner's Court, Judge, because I know that Mr. Villarreal, Commissioner, Mr. Gabriel.
I understand that,
So
and
that's why I thought it was something that they can do while they were sitting.
Well, it's, anything's possible, it's not a good idea, in my opinion. So we got a motion, is there a second?
I second.
There's a second, all those in favor? Aye, 3 ayes, I'm against. You didn't vote, Commissioner Rhodes, you can't vote on yourself.
No.
Okay. Item number 14 is to approve quote and remove and replace mini split with a new 2-ton system at the Zapata County Precinct 2 office.
Yes, Judge, the Swedish kid that's in the office right there, where the guys have a time clock, I think that it's over 20 years, it's very old, it's not working, so. I might have half of the monies, but
Okay.
trying to
Motion
see.
to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Garza, all those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 15 is to award bid for the Zapata County Helping Hands Food Pantry. Salinas, we have a problem with this, item, Commissioners. We had advertised, something the court had approved because of the need to improve the food pantry. We advertised for 2 weeks. A bid did come in within that time period. Late in the, I think at the end of the 2-week period, there was a request made for additional information to bid. And mistakenly, the bid packet that had already been submitted was provided to the new bidder. So basically, that bidder is void. So it's up to the court, do we?
But that second bid had already gone beyond the, deadline, correct?
Well, technically, we didn't have a deadline date on the bid, but we usually go 2 weeks. It was past the 2-week period.
And the bidder who had previously bidded, whose bid was shared, had met all the requirements.
Yes.
I'll make a motion, Judge, that we approve and award it to the initial bidder.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Solis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Who's the bidder?
Santos Castillo Construction. And the bid about is $68,500.
We had specified, Judge, that that money would be paid out of the COVID relief funds.
Yes.
as-
That is certainly something that we can
They
do.
will qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you call for the question?
Yeah.
Did you call for the question on that item?
Yeah, I think we had a motion in a second.
Okay.
Yes.
We haven't voted on it, right?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 16, to approve invoice to SHI Government Solutions for $2,093.83 for cloud management, advanced security, and wireless access point subscription, license purchase.
What is this?
I have no idea. Judge Ramon Benavides is requesting this, but I have no
We
idea.
had already requested.
Yeah,
that-
they requested it before, he was not here, and I think they signed the invoice, but it haven't been paid.
I just think that when we have items of technology, that we need a man here to explain what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the department head that's requesting the purchase, because we never have any information as to what it is, what it's for. I mean, it's hard for us to approve stuff that we don't really know what it's for.
This is since February. It had been sitting at the auditor's office since February. They gave it to
Yeah.
me.
Because it hasn't been brought up or approved, so it's still there.
It was already purchased.
Yeah, it's
I
already
imagine it's
purchased.
already been installed and put into use.
Has it been purchased? I don't know if it's been purchased, I just know that
No, it's already installed.
it's already installed.
It's already before, we have to pay it, then what do we do?
I'll make a motion to.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Garza to approve the purchase of $2,093.83.
Yeah.
seconded by Commissioner Mendoza. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Item number 17 is to accept resignation from Carlos C. Leica, slot number 25, effective 5/5/21.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Mendoza. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Number 18 is to approve a pay increase for Johan J. Alvarado from $13.21 an hour to $13.42 an hour, slot number 24.
Move.
Mr. Alvarado is now a paramedic firefighter.
Chief,
Motion
is
by,
Mr. Alvarado local?
No, sir.
He's not local.
No.
When is
Got a
this
motion?
effective? What is the effective date? Today?
Yeah.
motion by Commissioner Garza, seconded by Commissioner Solis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Item number 19 is to approve iDocket invoices number 327649 from 6/13/16 of 1,500, 311-724 from 8/18/15 of 1,500, and 293164 from 4/16, year 14 of 3,000 for a total of 6,000. We've gone 7 years without paying?
No, 3 years, or 3 years.
Well, it says
14, 15, and 16.
Well, I guess what he's saying, it's been 7 years of the oldest invoice that hasn't been paid.
Yes, it's been, we just received them, we received
Mr.
notice.
Gonzalez, is there a way we can send a communication and Judge Benavides, this is not acceptable.
No, this is not just Benavides, this is not just Benavides. This iDocket is used by the judge's office,
the county attorney wasn't paying the invoices.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
The county attorney's office wasn't paying.
Didn't pay those fee. Since then, we've.
And we looked into that, and the reason being that they don't use it. So we need to remove it from the access. I don't understand, but they don't use the
They
iDocket.
don't even have, they don't even, from my understanding, they
Can
don't even have
we,
access to
can
it
we
anymore.
cancel the subscription or?
Well, the judge's office and the county clerk uses it, so they're splitting the cost right now.
Yeah.
That's the one they use for courts. Like.
But-
And these were just sent to our office.
But is there, no, I understand, it's not your fault, but I'm
Yeah.
saying,
No, I'm not-
if they're not using it, is there an additional fee for that branch to have access?
No, the way it's set up, it's $4,500, and it was split up between 3. It's still $4,500, just split up between 2. They don't care how many people use it. It's just, the license is
We
$4,500.
use it, we've been using it.
I mean, we have to pay it.
Yeah,
We have to pay
it's
it.
something that was brought up, you know,
It's just
they sent
not-
us an invoice,
it's
and we
not-
did the research, and actually, one of them, the $3,000 one, we had sent payment, from the judge's office, back in 2014, and, the check was just never cashed, they never
I
received
mean,
it, so that's why.
are we still responsible to pay an invoice in 7 years? I mean, that's.
I don't know if we're
companies write off.
responsible, but they can shut off the.
But why haven't they shut it off yet after 7 years? That's what I'm saying, because most companies, their debts, you know, they go stale. and
I can
they-
go back and talk to them about that. I can surely talk to them about that and bring this back in a couple of weeks. I mean, they waited.
Whatever
Well,
the board
it's-
wants to do, but
I'm
I
sorry.
think it's,
I
for
hope
us
you
to
don't
be paying
mind.
invoices that are 7 years old.
We have been using the program and everything else has been paid. It was just that at the beginning, when we actually got the program itself, they knew that the county attorneys was also, you know, they had accepted it, they had approved it, but then it didn't work for them, I don't know, but then they never told us. We thought they were paying it and they weren't, you know, so, cause everybody had to pay their part.
Yeah.
But we use it a lot because, you know, it's for office use mainly
Yeah.
and the judges, you know.
Yeah, we use, I mean, that's all we use.
Um,
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Motion.
I'll have to look into it,
Commissioner Solis, seconded by Commissioner Garza. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye, motion carries. Number 20 is to approve payment for Webb County Medical Examiner autopsies for JT Precinct 4. There are 15 autopsies performed over a span of 3 years at $1,700 each, totaling $25,500 that we are.
So these are old invoices, I'm
Oh.
sorry, I had gotten the
And why?
items confused.
Okay,
That's why I said Judge Benavides for the other
Oh,
one.
I'm, okay,
I thought it was
yeah,
this one.
yeah, this, and I talked to, texted with Gigi Friday, and she said that we had questions, that's all I got was.
What are the years of these bills?
These are,
About 3 years.
18, 20, 19, they're basically in those years, 18, 19, and 20. A lot of 19.
And why were they not being paid?
I don't know what she was doing that she didn't pay them. And I requested for them to be here, but they, you know.
Not good practice for us to be including invoices, so motion to approve.
And the
provided?
We have about $11,000 in, and I would have been able to pay him from our, line items right now, but there's only, we budgeted 15,000, and there's $11,000 left, so it's gonna go over budget by.
Okay.
Got a motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Garza. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Item number 21 is to review and approve the quote for the Little League baseball field scoreboard in precinct 4 due to storm damages. Victor already left?
Yeah.
Is that the first page, maybe, on the package?
It's the first two pages. Good morning, Judge Commissioners. There's two ways that this could be accepted. The scoreboard itself, is a quote from Spectrum Scoreboards out of, I believe they're out of Houston, for the amount of $6,511. And if they do the labor, it's an additional $3,611. Or there's also another invoice for just labor from Martinez Electric in the amount of $2,650.
Nelly, and this one is gonna be paid from the insurance?
Yes, what I'm gonna be doing is submitting the actual invoices for the scoreboard and labor, and it's gonna go trickle down to the rest of the items that I have.
So the 6511 covers the actual cost of the scoreboard?
It's just the scoreboard.
But we bring the delivery, so are we gonna have to go pick it up, or we don't pay that, or what?
I'm not too sure, and it says here total shift.
Okay. This is an option, okay, so essentially we could do the 6511 and then give it to Martinez Electric, which is cheaper, at $2,650. That'll be my motion, Judge.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Solis to purchase the scoreboard for $6,511 and hire Martinez Electric to install it for $2,000, what is it? $2,650, okay? Item number 22 is to approve the invoices for the softball field lighting for Martinez Electric Service LLC in the amount of $25,740.36.
Yes, Judge Commissioners, this work is also part of the storm damages, which I'm gonna submit for.
Motion to approve that.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, second by Commissioner Solis. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Item number 23 is to approve / ratify the resolution for the Texas Department of Transportation agreement for the temporary closure of the state right-of-way for CZISD Senior Parade 2021, which was held on May the 6th, 2021, as requested by CZISD and Zapata County. Motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Solis, seconded by Commissioner Garza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. 24 is to review and approve the bid for the fence repairs at the Zapata County Pavilion Park area in precinct 2.
This is also part of the insurance reimbursement?
This is part of the insurance reimbursement. The only problem with this, the precinct 2 is already out of funds for repairs. I can submit it to insurance, I do not know if it'll get through.
We need to fix that, Commissioner, there's a big gap on.
I think, there's that, I'll make a motion that we award it to the lowest bidder. There's two bids
Okay.
there.
Okay. Motion, there's two bidders, okay, there's,
They're in the package.
There was one for Jorge Javier Flores,
for
for
6,500.
6,500, and that's
And
just labor.
That's just labor, Judge, and the material, we would order it directly from the vendor, so we would save a good chunk of money there.
It was a savings of about $4,500.
Okay, yeah, there, I mean, we gotta fix that then. So motion by Commissioner Mendoza.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Elizondo. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And it goes to the lowest bidder.
Yes.
Item number 26, to advertise for the 25, to accept the upcoming retirement of Ms. Rosalinda S. Gonzalez, Information and Assistance Director at the Zapata County Nutrition Center.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Solis. Ms. Gonzalez has been at the Nutrition Center.
About 20 years.
Yeah, many years now, and she informed me that, she was gonna go rest up with her grandkids, so we wish her well.
Her retirement should be, for the month of June.
Month of June, yes. June 30th, I believe. June 30th, up to June 30th. We got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. number 26 is to advertise for the Information Assistance Director position for Zapata County Nutrition Center.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Solis. I think we've got all the job descriptions.
Yes, I do have the job description ready. I will start advertising hopefully by this week, and we'll look at
Judge,
applications.
if it pleases the court, I'd like to recommend that we appoint a committee to interview the applicant.
I think that would be a good idea.
I would agree.
Yeah.
And that way, that, you know, because I imagine there's gonna be a good amount of interest in the position, so that way the committee can interview and then make their recommendation to the court.
Who's gonna be on the
Ms.
committee?
Kelly and,
I would say maybe
and Rosalinda?
Ms. Gonzalez, maybe Mr. Gonzalez.
Okay, yeah.
We need three.
I mean-
Okay, so those three, which will be, include Ms. Rosie Gonzalez, will be on the committee for her recommendation, Nelly, and our county auditor. I think that's a very appropriate, Commissioner, good idea.
Can we include that as part of the motion?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I'll ratify my motion, and I'll modify my motion for.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, second by Commissioner Solis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Number 27 is to review and approve the quotes for a new ice machine for the Zapata County shop.
Judge, this ice machine is over 20 years old. I'll make a motion that we
I
approve the
second it.
lowest bidder, Judge.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, second by Commissioner Garza. All those in favor?
Who's the bidders?
Aye.
I believe we have.
Refrigeration service
And
and
Fernie's.
Fernie.
Oh, so we do actually have a quote?
Yes.
They're at the very end, Judge.
Oh, that's good. Well, I like
4,500, and Fernie's AC came in at 4,789.
Okay, so the lowest bidder will be
Ralph's Refrigeration.
Ralph Refrigeration. Okay, so
Ralph.
the award goes to Ralph Refrigeration for $4,500. Yeah, it's, man, it's been really hot, so yeah, guys be nice. Item number 28 is to appoint Lauro Guerra as Zapata County League Coordinator, President. I think there's no action on that.
No action.
Item number 29 is to approve additional $9,500 for the boat ramp expansion project approved on April 12, 2021.
Motion to approve, Judge, that should be taken out of the motor tax.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Solis.
No, Solis abstain.
Abstain for the record. Commissioner Garza, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Commissioner Solis abstains. Item number consent items. We have a line item transfer.
Judge, I'll make a motion to
Second.
approve the consent items as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza to approve line items transfers 31 and 32.
Judge, Ms. Figueroa has
Or,
a.
I just have a real quick question on that. I know that the sheriff put a line item.
Yes.
Transfer there, and it might not go with the rules of the court, but I was wondering if instead of that 743.
Okay, 743.
We could do 1,000.
Sure.
And just empty out that,
The
that
remaining
prisoner
balance.
transport, because it'll actually leave us at 0 if it's just asking
Okay,
for already.
Judge, I'll modify my motion to approve that adjustment.
I second it.
743, 1,000 to be transferred.
All right.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, second by Commissioner Garza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We've got one executive session item, and that is to acquire/purchase additional acreage adjacent to the Zapata County Cemetery. And this will be heard under 551.071.
Make a motion to go to
Consultation
executive
with
session.
attorney. And 551.072 real property. Motion by Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Mendoza. We are now in executive session.
So, Judge, el mini split, ¿de dónde va a salir? ¿De mi budget o de dónde?
No.
Supplies general,
No, no,
or,
no.
yeah.
Oh, you said half, right?
We need air
You
conditioning.
did say half.
You did say half, Commissioner.
I heard half.
Tengo los air conditionings y el hielo.
Yeah, my machine works.